What if you woke up tomorrow and the sun rose from the west instead of the east? Sounds like sci-fi, right? But if Earth reversed its spin, our world would never be the same. From shifting weather to rewriting history, everything changes. Welcome to Spin of Facts, where today we dive deep into the wild possibilities of a backward spinning Earth. Buckle up. What you're about to discover will seriously mess with your perception of reality. Earth's rotation. Right now, Earth spins from west to east, giving us sunrises in the east and sunsets in the west. This rotation not only determines day and night, but also influences weather systems, flight patterns, and even the planet's shape. If Earth suddenly spun in the opposite direction, the sun would rise in the west, and that's just the beginning. The Coriolis Effect, which controls the direction of wind and ocean currents, would completely reverse. This reversal would impact global climate systems, ocean circulation, and air travel. The shape of the Earth itself could shift slightly too, as the equatorial bulge changes. Satellites, space launches, and navigational systems would all be thrown into chaos. And while one flip sounds minor, it actually messes with everything from tides to tectonic behavior. Simply put, a reversed spin would mean reprogramming the rules of life on Earth, from the weather forecast to your morning coffee routine. Climate chaos. Climate zones as we know them exist because of Earth's spin direction. Flip that spin, and the world gets an extreme makeover without the glam. Air currents would change course, and deserts like the Sahara could bloom into green havens, while lush regions like the Amazon might turn bone dry. Why? Because wind belts would reverse, and the Coriolis effect would twist in the opposite direction, shifting storm paths, monsoons, and jet streams. Europe, warmed by the Gulf Stream, could plunge into cold, while the US Pacific coast could heat up. Even cyclones would spin the other way and appear in different parts of the globe. Agriculture would face disaster. Crops rely on consistent weather, and a flip would mean unpredictable growing conditions. Entire ecosystems could collapse under this stress. Animals and plants used to certain climates would either adapt rapidly or die off. A reversed spin doesn't just shift weather, it rewrites the rules of survival. Ocean currents reversed. The oceans wouldn't be spared either. Earth's spin drives ocean gyres, those massive circular currents that transport warm and cold water around the planet. Reverse the spin, and these gyres flip direction. That means warm tropical waters could start flowing the wrong way, and cold polar currents might drift toward unexpected coastlines. Europe's temperate climate, made possible by warm Gulf Stream waters, could freeze over. Meanwhile, previously chilly coastlines might experience tropical heat. Marine life would be in trouble. Coral reefs could die off from temperature stress, and fish species would scatter or disappear. Ocean productivity would suffer, as the nutrient upwelling that sustains rich fishing zones would halt or move. This would devastate the fishing industry, food security, and coastal economies worldwide. Hurricanes, too, would flip direction and possibly form in completely new locations. The ocean is Earth's thermostat, and reversing its currents would send that thermostat into full-blown malfunction mode. Day and night shift drastically. If Earth spun backward, your sunrise would come from the west. Imagine watching the sun rise over the Pacific instead of the Atlantic. While that sounds poetic, it would totally confuse your internal clock. Our bodies are synced to the sun's movement, and this sudden change would wreak havoc on sleep, energy levels, and even mood. Jet lag would hit differently. People might struggle with depression, anxiety, or insomnia as their circadian rhythms are thrown off. Cities built to maximize natural light might find themselves in shadow at the wrong times. Solar panels would become less efficient, and architecture might need a redesign. Animals would also suffer, especially migratory species and those that hunt or mate based on day length. Farmers, too, would have to rethink planting and harvesting times. Even though the day would still be roughly 24 hours long, the entire rhythm of life would feel alien. Nothing would feel quite right anymore. The reversal of weather patterns. Weather works like a giant conveyor belt of heat and moisture, largely driven by Earth's rotation. Reverse that rotation, and everything goes haywire. Jet streams would flip, which means weather systems like storms, monsoons, and hurricanes would follow new paths. Regions used to heavy rain might dry out, and arid places might flood. Imagine India without a monsoon season or the Amazon facing drought. Tornado Alley might move out of the US entirely. Even snowbelts would shift, affecting ski resorts, freshwater sources, and tourism economies. Crops would fail in regions no longer getting the right mix of sun and rain. Global agriculture would have to adapt rapidly, which isn't always possible. Weather forecasting would need a total overhaul. Satellites and models that took decades to perfect would become useless. Insurance companies would panic, and shipping and airline routes would be at risk. In short, our safety and survival would hang in the balance. Changes in bird migration and animal behavior. Imagine birds flying thousands of miles, only to end up in the wrong place because the planet betrayed them. A reversed spin would confuse migratory birds that use the sun and magnetic fields for navigation. They might arrive too early or late, miss food sources, or fail to breed. Sea turtles might never find their nesting beaches again. Whales and dolphins could get stranded due to altered ocean routes. Even bees and butterflies, critical for pollination, rely on wind direction and sunlight patterns, both of which would change. That means a hit to farming and global food supply. Predators would show up when prey isn't there. Plants might bloom too early or too late. Entire food chains would collapse. Even nocturnal animals could be disoriented by new moonlight patterns. These shifts don't just affect animals, they ripple out to impact ecosystems, agriculture, and human life. Our survival depends on nature's timing, and reversing Earth's spin would break its clock. A flip in time zones and international travel. Get ready to reset every clock in existence. A backward spinning Earth would flip the order of time zones. The sun would rise in the west and move east across the sky. That means global timekeeping, from alarms to calendars to international broadcasts, would need a full rewrite. Air travel would be chaos. Jet lag patterns would reverse, and optimized flight schedules would no longer make sense. Airlines would lose billions adjusting to new turbulence patterns caused by reverse jet streams. Pilots would require retraining, and GPS satellites would need reprogramming. Even shipping routes would suffer due to altered ocean and wind currents. Stock markets that rely on synchronized global clocks could see delays or outages. Data centers, trading algorithms, and servers would all be out of sync. And let's not forget the psychological impact. Humans deeply rely on structured time. In a reversed world, we need to relearn how to measure our days. Rewriting human history. Human civilization was built on a spinning foundation. Change that, and you rewrite history, literally. Ancient trade routes like the Silk Road may never have formed, because wind and ocean currents would favor opposite paths. The Fertile Crescent might never have been fertile, shifting the birthplace of agriculture and civilization. European colonization could have moved east instead of west, leading to entirely different empires, alliances, and global languages. Even religions that orient toward the sun, or specific cardinal directions, would evolve differently. Structures like Stonehenge or the pyramids, built with astronomical precision, would face the wrong way. Calendars would shift, astrological signs would change, and farming schedules would be reimagined. Major historical events, from wars to cultural movements, might occur at different times or not at all. Our entire understanding of world history, geography, and human progress would be rewritten. One directional change, infinite butterfly effects across time. Satellites, space missions, and technology. Every satellite in orbit today was launched based on Earth's current rotation. Reversing that spin would make those calculations worthless. Most rockets are launched eastward to gain a speed boost from the Earth's spin. If the planet spun westward instead, we'd need entirely new launch strategies. That means redesigning rockets, recalculating trajectories, and possibly relocating launch sites. Existing satellites might become unstable or useless. Geostationary satellites, used for TV, weather, and communication, could fall out of sync, disrupting everything from Netflix to national defense. GPS systems would become inaccurate, affecting everything from smartphones to military drones. Rebuilding this infrastructure could take decades and cost trillions. Weather satellites and Earth-observing equipment would need recalibration. The International Space Station's orbit could become unsustainable. Even timekeeping systems that rely on atomic clocks synchronized with Earth's spin would need adjusting. In short, the digital world we've built on a spinning globe would glitch, lag, and possibly fail. A simple spin in the opposite direction could unravel life as we know it. From shattered ecosystems to a total rewrite of history and tech, the effects would be profound. Got thoughts or questions? Drop them in the comments. I read every single one. Share this with a friend who needs to see this. Subscribe now so you don't miss what's coming next. Trust me, it's worth it.